person who's like smiling all the time, be like, hi, I want to be your friend. It doesn't necessarily go down well with everyone. So I didn't necessarily have the best like first couple years of secondary school, but I definitely like made it better for myself.
So in terms of like you didn't have the best, what would you say? What people were not being your friend or?
Yeah, I was sort of like not necessarily a loner. Like I had a few really good friends.
Yeah.
Like I had one friend who was in the year above me, who literally just lived down the road from me. She was practically like my big sister, even to this day. Like I love her. Her name's Rachel. Absolute sweetheart. I love her. And I'd say it was mainly the fact that when I was very like my mom used to say that I run on Duracell, so I'm very like energetic and I'm very like this and that. I'm very like I want to be everywhere. And then the thing is, when you're surrounded by a bunch of kids who just are trying to be cool all of the time, it doesn't necessarily go down well with them. So they'll either just sort of like see you as sort of like an outcast, or they'll just try and make you feel bad about yourself because they know how good you feel about yourself, and they know how bad they feel about themselves. So they want to make you feel the same way, sort of thing. Yeah.
Did you ever have any like down moments, like, you know, like not say depression, but you know what I'm saying, like times when you felt a little bit like down on the fact that they were treating you like that?
Yeah, eventually I think it got to like a sort of boiling point near like the end of year 7. Like I used to be like really depressed and like even feeling like suicidal for about like a couple of years of my life. It was like the worst time of my life because every time I just go home I just feel like it's never going to get better. This just like I'm not going to have any proper friends. It's just going to be like down for the rest of my life because I'd be constantly humiliated, like constantly feeling really lonely, and then even when I'd feel like I'd actually have a proper best friend, something would happen with that friend to make me feel like I can't trust anyone. And I feel like that's definitely like the after effect will always be there. I feel like for me, because now I've definitely become a bit more anxious and I always take everything with a pinch of salt now, which is definitely more different than I was in primary school, because primary school was very like, oh, everything's good, everything's fine. Now I'm like, I'm getting back to that, but it's sort of like I've learned to take everything with a pinch of salt now, so I've definitely become stronger and less naive in that sense. So yeah.
So in terms of that, like what aspects of that part of you, the new part of you, what are you going to keep and what are you going to let go?
I definitely think, like even my mum was telling me before I come to uni, just even though you can be friendly with people, but just don't be like too open and stuff like that. Never like show your true colours the first day. Like you always have to like be careful. So I've always learned that I do need to like be careful with some people, because the problem is when you come too close to some people, they'll just then go and like turn their back on you at the last minute or when you least expect it. So I've also learned like with that I need to be careful, but at the same time, not everyone's evil, not everyone's out to get you. So you just gotta learn to pick and choose your moments.
Be smart. Try to be really smart.
But
more power to you, because you got over it.
True.
So that's year 7, year 8. Year 9, things start to change then, I suppose.
That was sort of like a transitional year. Like I don't remember too much from year 9. That's when I did do the I did like my first sort of recording of like we were doing like covers, because I took singing lessons, so everyone who took singing lessons at the time, they got to have their own like sort of cover song on like the secondary school's like mini album sort of thing. So I got to do, because I love musicals, I got to do Run and Tell That from Hairspray, which is like one of my favourite musicals. And then I remember doing that, and I remember like the whole process, and I was like, oh, I want to learn like what these guys are doing, because it was a bunch of like year 11s who were recording me. So I used to be like, wow, I wonder like how did they do that, like what's the process of that. And that's something that I've always been curious about, which got me into production in the first place.
Wow, well done. So then that's year 9, right? So that started you off, got your production stuff. What did you use for production in those days?
In those days I didn't really know what to use, so I was usually using like garage bands and stuff like that, and we didn't have Logic. Well, I don't think we had Logic in the computer, so I was just mainly using GarageBand and like trying to like record stuff on there. Like even up to like year 11, I even tried to record my first rap song on there. I never finished that. I don't know why, but I just never got around to finishing that. I still remember that song though. But that was like definitely a proper transitional moment for me when I realised like how passionate I really am about like doing music and stuff.
Wicked. So year 10 now, getting a little bit more, a little bit more confident with your stuff now. But what's happening in year 10?
year 10. Obviously, like that's when GCSEs are starting and stuff like that. So I wasn't like too focused on music in that sense, but I was definitely like coming more out of my shell. But when it came to like writing stuff, I think I'd written my first song. Well, not like my first song. I wrote my first song when I was like 8 or something. But like my first proper like decent song in like year 10, and then that was the song I showed at my Brit school audition. So we got to like show them a song that we had written. That was the song I had shown them, and then it was like,
What was that called? What was it called?
I can't even remember. But it was like some cringy ass Disney Channel sort of pop song, like 2x2 or something. I can't even remember.
Alright, so year 10 now, a bit more confident, got your songs going on, getting to Brits. What was your friendships like at this point? You have more friends?
Oh, friendship, I even was really ironic. I have this one best friend. I hated her in year 7. I despised the heck out of her, literally. And then in year 9, we were in the same science class, and then we were in the same science class until year 11. So then we became definitely a lot closer, and then to this day, she's literally my best friend.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's how it works, you know, in life.
Exactly.
Sometimes people in you at work, you don't even like them. Next thing you know, they're your best friend.
Exactly.
Like,
What
I
else
don't
is
even like you. Yeah, exactly. Definitely. All right. So year 11 now.
Yep.
What's happening in year 11? No, this is crunch. This is crunch.
Exactly.
What's happening?
GCSEs. Obviously, I was doing like my audition stuff for Brit School, and I was sort of like, because I was deciding like what to do for Brit School, I was also sort of deciding what path I guess to take in terms of like performing arts. Because one thing I was really stuck with, I was stuck between studying music, which is like music industry, studying musical theatre, which is like obviously like Broadway sort of stuff, and theatre, where I just focus on acting. And then in the end, like, long story short, I ended up picking music mainly because there was an AS theatre option. So that was sort of like an extra A level, but for theatre. And I think if there was an AS version for music, then I probably would have picked theatre. So it's like little things like that. But I realised that I am definitely most passionate about music, but I am also very still passionate about acting. But then again, if I did pick theatre, I don't know, like, what could have happened? Could be a very different outcome, but
for real. So you're fully at Brits now?
Yep.
What's Brits like? What's it like as a place? I only visited there like once. So what's it like?
It's like, it definitely didn't. I'll be honest. It didn't live up to all of my expectations, but mainly because my expectations were like out of this world. I thought like, oh, this is the school to make you become famous or whatever. It really isn't. And even they tell you that the moment you get there, they're like, it is not that kind of school. You go there to learn. It is just a school. There have been obviously some great alumni that have come from that school, but it's not the kind of school you go to for clout or anything. Like, if you go to that school, you better work for that school, basically. That sort of thing. And I definitely did put my like head straight into it. I got my head in the game, and I definitely sort of taught myself a lot about how the music industry works. Because before, like, even though I really wanted to go into it, I never really understood how it worked and stuff like that. So going to Brits, it definitely really opened my eyes as to how the whole music industry works, and it helps you realise that all these celebrities, it's sort of like, it does break that pedestal in that sense, because like we do get to go to like, we do get a lot of cool opportunities to go into the Brit Awards and like meeting some of the Brit alumni and stuff like that. I mean, a lot of really cool people, but at the same time you do realise that they are just people. They are just people with jobs, really good paying jobs, but like just jobs nonetheless. Like they're just people trying to like make their, like get their coin, make their living, like, you know, just try and live life like everyone else. So
who did you meet?
Name
drop, that's time to name drop
now. I know technically it was year 13, but year 13 I met Aisha J. I got to sing a song for her, and she gave me some like vocal pointers, which was really cool. And we got to watch her perform live at the Royal Albert Hall, and we got to get up on stage with her and stuff like that. It was really cool. And we went to the Brit Awards, met a lot of people at Brit Awards. I met Dua Lipa, we met, who else did we meet? We met like met a couple like British famous people, so like a couple of people from like Love Island and stuff like that. Not this year, but last year. And then we even got to meet Stormzy. I'd say Stormzy was definitely one of the most humble people I'd ever met, because I remember we were all standing on like this sort of corner at the red carpet, and then he came over to us, and I was like, can I have a hug? And then he gave me like, because he's really tall, he had to like bend all the way down. And then I think he was like talking to some of my friends because I think they were doing like a little interview with him, and I think someone like his manager or something tried to like steal him away from us, and then he was like, hey yo, hold on, I'm trying to talk to these guys, and we were like, wow, that's really humbling, because he doesn't like brush, he recognises us as just people, not just like sort of like, he doesn't really recognise that pedestal, which I really respect. I respect people like that who understand that we are all just like humans, just like living together. There's not a sort of like us and them mentality. And I really respected that.
It's beautiful. And I like what he's doing for, you know, black young people to go to uni as well.
All the scholarships.
I think that's amazing. Okay, so you've had your little sort of like, what's the word? Your new Brits sort of lifestyle now. It's going well. Did you find the lessons hard? Did you find it hard to study in there?
It was definitely harder than I anticipated, but it was definitely worth the work. So again, we in the first year we studied songwriting, history of jazz, history of pop, and like music industry work and stuff like that. Music industry was definitely my favourite because again it was like different tips and tricks that we could use for the future. So that was definitely the most beneficial lesson for me. And then in the second year, it was mainly just about finishing the course in the second year. So we did like ethnomusicology, so like world music and stuff like that. Even we did a world music show as our final show. It was definitely the best show. I got to do Zombie by Fela Kuti, you know, King of Afrobeats and that. And even my little sisters came on stage at the end. It was like really cool.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Oh man, I should see that in the video. I want to see that.
Yeah, I've got a video.
You got a video? Okay, cool. Your parents, are they musical, your parents?
No, that's the thing. That was another really weird thing. Yeah, again, it was just, I think it was my mum sort of started that trend for me by encouraging me to do like musical theatre and stuff like that, and then I managed to like sort of branch out by myself. And then she's definitely been very supportive with me the whole way. Same with my dad, because obviously my dad, he lives in another country, so we don't get to see him as much, but he's obviously very supportive as well.
It's wicked. Okay, so we've got the year 13. Let's go to year 13. Year 13 of Brits. You're gearing up to do the steppy right now.
Yeah.
What are the thoughts going through your head? Are you excited? Are you anxious? Are you scared? Or you just know what you want to do? What's the
all of the above.
All of it.
Literally all of the above. Because in my head I'm like, this is what I've got a clear structure in my head of what I want to do. It's like I've got like music as sort of like my side hustle while I'm studying criminology. But at the same time in my head I'm thinking, oh, what if that doesn't work out? What if I'm just like stuck here just doing releases, like mediocre releases again and again and again, and it doesn't really go anywhere. But at the same time I'm thinking it could go somewhere. So aside my optimistic and pessimistic side is sort of like having a fight for the torch right now. And then but I feel like it's that sort of thing with everyone at uni, because everyone at uni is sort of just trying to figure out what they're trying to do. So I feel like it's just your average like sort of early life crisis sort of thing.
That's amazing. It's amazing. I touch me. I think you're excellent. Excellent. So I listened to your Spotify, and you have a jazzy feel. I feel anyway. I think it's a jazzy feel. Were you heavily influenced by jazz when you were going through your jazz studies, or was it just happened to be how your voice sounds?
Honestly, the thing is, when it came to like doing the EP, it was a final project. It was one of my final projects at Brit School. I genuinely didn't know what I was doing half the time. So like two of the songs on there, I've got like my friend playing drums, and then like one friend playing keys, and then the rest that I had to do I did through MIDI and stuff like that. So the thing is, I was literally just experimenting around with like songs that I'd really dug. So like even part of it I had to like write like on my school's website, I mean not my school's website but like my website for school. I had to like write about like the different influences and stuff, but it wasn't necessarily like a genre based sort of influence. I think it was more of just like artists that I just really were into, and their sort of like messages and their sort of like vocal like styles and stuff like that. I just really got into those, and then I sort of like took my own way from there. So I never like meant to do like jazz or anything like that. I just did. I just did.
No, I loved it. Even if you just did, I love it. It's a nice film. So what's the EP called?
Tell Me I'm Beautiful.
Tell Me I'm Beautiful. Okay, it's wicked. So who are the artists that kind of brought you to the dance, so to speak?
I'd say SZA was definitely one of the main ones. I've got so much love and respect for her. Like literally, she's been one of my biggest inspirations. I haven't even like been listening to her music for that long. I started listening to her the moment her main album Control came out. That's when I started listening to her. But literally, she just spoke to me from the moment I first heard her first song, and literally I was just like captivated by her. And then like since then she's definitely been one of my biggest influences. Another one is Georgia Smith, because obviously she also released her debut album. I feel like debut albums are like a main thing for me, because it's like that's the first sort of impression and like thing that you're putting out into the world for people to listen to. So you gotta make sure